So let me begin with the protocols for this afternoon's conversation. The Director of Ceremonies and the 2014 National Women's Scientist of the Year, Professor Laila Patel. You see, I thought I should get back at you as well. His Excellency, the President of Ireland, Michael Higgins and Mrs. Sabine Higgins, welcome indeed. Honourable Minister Tom Hayes, where is Minister Hayes? Welcome, sir. His Excellency Ambassador Lime McGowan and your colleagues. Mr. Mike Teki, the Deputy Chairman of the Council of the University of Johannesburg and fellow councillors of the University. Dr. Rensburg, executives, senior leaders, academics and other staff of the University of Johannesburg. And dare I say, most importantly, President of the UJSRC, Ms. Nikki Mboweni, and your leadership team, and of course your fellow students who have been able to turn out today. I was listening with great interest to our choir this morning because initially they kicked off with less passion than I expected. And of course I realized it's exam time. And that the passion perhaps is focused on the importance of completing their studies, your studies, students, of course, efficiently, effectively, and with outstanding results. Excellency, one of the things that I do with my team when we visit our campuses 3 times a year or so is to ask the student leaders who are gathered there to measure themselves against the standard of the university. It's of course a hard question, but the question typically goes like this. So those of you who were in the top 4% of your class, stand up. Those of you who were in the top 4% in your city, in your high school exams, remain standing. You get the drift. Those in the top 4% in their province, in their country, in the continent, in the world, stand up. And it's a remain standing, and it's a kind of reminder to our students that it is within their means, absolutely within their means, to be ranked amongst themselves, amongst the top 4%. Of students and ultimately of great influences of our world into the future. But back to our business for today. So it's indeed a great pleasure to welcome you all today. In particular, we are delighted, Excellency, President Michael Higgins and Mrs. Higgins, and your colleagues for spending time with us today. So welcome to South Africa and welcome to the dynamic and cosmopolitan Soweto, and of course to the University of Johannesburg. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say that we are privileged to have you here, and we trust your visit here and beyond in the days that lie ahead will be rich and rewarding for you and your colleagues, and of course for your nation. And so this is a landmark day in the life of the University of Johannesburg, and in particular for our Soweto campus. This is because Soweto in particular occupies a special place in our minds as a place of youth-led and of new beginnings that are inspired by boundless hope, boundless ambition, boundless passion, and a struggle for freedom, for democracy, for equality, and above all for human dignity that continues today and into the future. Of course, I'm reminded that our nations share and are different in many respects, share our own passion for freedom, our shared passions for freedom, our shared passions for human dignity, our shared passions for equality, and of course for democracy. And that, in the instance of both of our nations, the accomplishments of our democracies, yours further advanced than ours, was the outcome of struggle, of great effort, but of resolve, and the end, endurance and victory. And so to you, Jay, we continually seek to nurture and empower young African leaders by allowing them to interact with exceptional and influential global voices. And so, Excellency, President Higgins, your engagement today is a testimony to our desire to provide young African leaders today and into the future with the opportunity to listen to amazing global voices. And so we're pleased and we're blessed with your presence here today. Recently, we hosted President Barack Obama. We also recently hosted the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, Honorable Fatou Bensouda, the chairman of the Caribbean Community of Nations, CARICOM, Hilary Beckles, the past secretary of CODESRI and current head of the United Nations Institute for Development and Economic Planning in Africa, Professor Adebayo Olukushi, the UN Development Program representative to South Africa, Dr. Agostino Zacharias, and dare I add to that list of esteemed speakers, our own public protector, Advocate Thuli Madonsela. And so we look forward with great expectation to your address, Excellency. As has already been highlighted, we'll focus on challenges and opportunities in Africa. However, first, some insights into His Excellency, President Higgins. President Higgins is the 9th President of Ireland. So I need to take my glasses out. He's a passionate political voice, a poet and a writer, an academic and a statesman, a human rights advocate, a promoter of inclusive citizenship, a champion of creativity within Irish society, who has previously served at almost every level of public life in Ireland, including as Ireland's first Minister of Arts, Culture, and I didn't do my homework, Ambassador McGowan, on this one, so I'm going to just shoot from the hip. Geiltacht. So, born in Limerick in 1941, President Higgins was raised in County Clare. He was a factory worker and a clerk before becoming, like 60% of UJ's current first-year class, the first in his family to access higher education. He studied at the University College Galway, the University of Manchester, and Indiana University. He's married, as has become evident, right, to Sabine Higgins, who attended the Stanislavski Studio of Acting in Dublin and is a founding member of the Focus Theatre. As a lecturer in political science and sociology in National University of Ireland, Galway, and in the US, President Higgins was a passionate proponent for the extension of access to third-level education, as you can imagine, beyond the walls of established universities. And he was centrally involved in the development of extramural studies at the National University of Ireland in Galway. And he travelled extensively across the west of Ireland to provide accessible evening classes for interested scholars or citizens. A desire to work more directly for equality and justice led His Excellency to enter public life, and he went on to serve as a public representative of many levels, from councillor and mayor to 9 years in Senate, and I'm going to just use our English shorthand, sorry about that, Excellency, and 25 years in Parliament. And throughout his life, President Higgins has campaigned for human rights and for the promotion of peace and democracy in Ireland and in many other parts of the world, from Nicaragua and Chile to Cambodia, Iraq, and Somalia. And in 1992, he was the first recipient of the Sean McBride Peace Prize from the International Peace Bureau in Helsinki, in recognition of his outstanding work for peace and justice across the world. But he's also a writer and a poet, contributing to many books covering diverse aspects of politics, of society, of history, and of culture. And he has published 2 collections of essays, Causes for Concern, Irish Politics, Culture and Society, and Renewing the Republic. He has also published 4 collections of poetry, The Betrayal, The Season of Fire, An Arid Season, and New Selected Poems. It's indeed a great and an honor and a very special privilege for us to welcome you, and we look forward to your address. Thank you very much, Excellency.